मित्रहो, आज जगाची लोकसंख्या 7 अब्ज आहे आणि सुमारे 7,000 भाषा जगभरात बोलल्या जातात. परंतु या बहुभाषिक विश्वामध्ये क्वचितच लोकांना एकमेकांची भाषा समजते किंवा बोलता येते. Wait a second. How many of you understand what I just said? Anyway, I don't expect you all to understand it. But imagine, what if I continue giving my talk in Marathi for another 15 minutes? Well, you have a choice to stop me or just walk out. But billions of people out there don't have this choice. Means, the matter of the fact is, out of 7 billion population, hardly 1.5 to 2 billion people understands English. That means 5 billion people don't understand English and don't know what's going around. Say for example, in a multilingual country like India, hardly 10 to 12% population knows English. And you know, the dominance of English is everywhere. Signage, internet, science, education, technology, everywhere. And by the time it gets translated into vernacular languages, it's just outdated. Technology is just gone. And the statistics says the majority of the school dropouts or the college dropouts just because of this language barrier. Means myself was about to be a victim of this huge or big language infinity complex. Let me tell you a story which not just represents me, but millions of youth of my nation. My parents wanted me to become an engineer, and I never know that the course is in English. Because my schooling was in Marathi, I was horrified. Everything was resting right over my head. I was not even able to utter a single word in English. So that was terrific experience. And what happened? Couple of students ran away because of this language barrier. So I thought, this is not my cup of tea, because I got fail in all 6 subjects and I got big zeros in all those. So obviously I thought of quitting and I packed my bags. But one thought stopped me, and those were my parents. Because my parents were academically illiterate, but they were very much determined to send their children to the school. Let me tell you, I am one of the very first of my generation to go to school. And education was like a lifeboat for me. But my lifeboat was terribly broken inside. I didn't know what to do. So with what expectation they would have sent me there, and what they might be dreaming that their son is going to become an engineer soon, and I was running away. So I said no. And with that, I make my mind to survive over there. I talked to professor. With that, I put my agony to a professor, and he said, not a big deal. Why don't you use dictionary? So I said, dictionary? What it means? Because that was a strange word I was listening for the first time in my life. I never know what it means by dictionary. He was a nice guy. He gave me his own dictionary and taught me how to use it. Since then, I started jotting down the words into my notebooks written by the professor on blackboard in the class, and on returning to my room, I turned the dictionary upside down and inside out, struggling to figure out what was actually going in the class. But slowly, I started progressing. And a shocking news came out. At the end of the year, when the results were out, it was learned that only 4 out of 60 students were passed in the class. So once again, I lost all my hopes of becoming an engineer. But to everyone's and my own surprise, I was the top in the class. And that was the moment when I realized how powerfully my success is connected to my friendship with the dictionary. But I was not most excited about my success, rather I was more concerned about those who ran away, because we were close friends, obviously. And I thought there are millions out there who have dreams in their eyes but don't have right tools like language or dictionary. And I thought, I felt it like it's my duty to help them, to show them the way I found. And it became like, then only I decided to help everyone who is in a language difficulty, which becomes my mission of life. In first go, I started in my own capacity. I started distributing Xerox copies of my own compiled dictionary to my peers. It was fantastic, but again, how many copies I distributed? And even a booklet dictionary was not feasible either. But in this process, I learned that a digital dictionary could be the right answer. But how to make a digital dictionary then? I was not even in knowledge of ABC of computer. Then I decided, okay, I'll figure out, and maybe first I need to go for learning computing. And then I applied and appeared for one of the entrance exams of one of the renowned computer institute. I was qualified to, but at the end of the process, I was literally thrown out because I had no enough money to pay their fees on time. I literally begged them. I said, I'll be able to, I'm ready to do any sweeper job or whatever. But they didn't listen, and now I want to thank them. I took it as a challenge. I ran away from the home and locked myself in small 10 by 10 room with a borrowed computer and books from my friend and started self-learning. 18, 20, 24 hours a day was usual. But due to this continuous sitting practice, there was another problem. I had to undergo a waist surgery because of this continuous sitting problem. And doctor said, stop it. You're not gonna able to do the sitting job anymore. But I was so passionate that I put computer in my sitting room, sitting chair, and I used to lie down on the top of the table and continue my study. That was fun. And in those 6 months, I learned world's almost all programming languages. And I wrote my first ever software program. That was English to Marathi dictionary. That was the world's first ever digital dictionary made into my language. It was very well accepted, appreciated. Then I started copying it on CDs and started distributing those CDs into my friend circle. They were very much happy. Again, how many CDs I could personally make. Then I thought of something I'll be doing, like I'll put all the data onto a central computer from where people can access it, download it from any part of the world. But I never know at that time, by doing this, actually I'm building my own website, which went viral. People started using it because there was not such thing on internet or Indian languages. And sooner or later I realized that hardly 10% of the population have access to internet. So what about the rest? And those were the days when this mobile revolution started, way back to 2005, 6 to 8. And then again, I started learning the mobile program, and I coded few apps in almost all these platforms like Symbian, then Java and Android and so on. And very later I started noticing that not everybody is having a smartphone. Because at that time, over 80% of the cell phones were ordinary cell phones without any capability to download or install or run any kind of software or apps like a feature phone. Then I figured out a common denominator across all the platforms and the cell phone devices made. And that was SMS. So I started a service called Dictionary on SMS. It was simple texting, which is very, very popular, especially in rural part of India. Well, friends, since 1998, I developed these tools for learning and teaching new languages like dictionaries on different devices like computer, mobile, tablet, simple feature phones, web services on almost all platforms, which means the journey was started alone, which is being used by now over 130 million users across 150 countries. So that's huge. And now just imagine the whole world is coming closer. It's like the global village. And we are people of different languages. Now I'm talking to you with a linked language called English. Just imagine in this room, all of us together, means all of us are of different languages, speaking different languages, and don't know any linked language. So imagine this, even if we sit for hours and hours, we travel, we live together, we will not be able to share or express ourselves or share our pain with each other. So what the hell is this? We are talking about the globalization, we are talking about the technology era. So the language is a huge barrier, but I see technology as the bridging that gap of, means once we connect, we are able to connect the languages, we are able to connect the people, we are able to connect the cultures. So this is how the universal integration through language exchange is the project I started. So my goal is to reach 1 billion lives by the end of 2020. I dream for something like, I want every single person on this planet to be able to communicate with each other irrespective of their languages. And so my vision is to build a kind of seamless real-time translation platform where speakers will speak in his or her own language, but the audience will listen in their respective languages. So when next time I give speech or talk in my Marathi language and ask how many of you understand, so 100% hand goes up. Thank you.